at the first place. To me, an error becomes a mistake if we refuse to correct it at any given moment of time. We all need to take full responsibility for our actions and words, as we know that this can come back to haunt us. We need to sometimes accept what we have done, and that we need to point out to them and acknowledge that we were at fault when certain situations arise, as we cannot always shift the blame onto others. Blame is easy to do for us, as we can just shift it to the next person and all. Sometimes, I can be hard on myself, and that from my life experiences so far, I had to. Yet, some of the experiences that I've been through, that I cannot blame myself for everything that has happened, as certain situations happen for a reason in life. Those situations do teach us, build us, or tear us depending on the given choices that we make at that point in time. Normality. What is normal? I was living my life as normal as possible as a young child up to now, as a young woman. Yet, people would always ask this question of what is normal these days. Normal or being normal is so overrated. There are too many definitions of normal, as many people today could define this term normal differently to me. How would I define normal? Nowadays, normal is an ignorant person's view of something that should or could be to their own set standards of rules and guidelines that we need to follow no matter what. Today in our society, we are all put into some sort of category, titles, etc., so that we fit in a mold that will keep us trapped or in a box, and then being left on the shelf or being forgotten about. Today, the society wants to dictate to us on how we think, act or feel about any situation or problem that arises. Gone are the days when we have the freedom of speech, or freedom of being ourselves, and it's been taken away from us to a point where we are controlled by other denominations. To me, we should be proud, bold, and stand out from the rest of the crowd, and not to be afraid of being different. Acceptance of whom and what we are as individuals, to me, is one of the many important values or attributes that I have in my life and live by these days. Normal request declined. Normal is something that you are not, as well as me. I refuse to be normal. I am hearing you say to me, say what? Why? The answer is simple. I do not wish to be confined to what and how society wants me to be, or portray to me what I should be. I refuse to let society, people, and even the hidden messages on billboards dictates, or tell me how to live my life, how to think, act, say and do. I should be able to be my own self, not a copy in this world, and to do good to people. I should be able to stand up and stand out from the crowd, to be different and to be me. Who says I should have some term of agreement to sign my life away? I refuse to be a model of someone else. I want to be Karen. I want to be her who loves to write, sing, and cook, and more importantly, to help and support others in any way I can, as a mentor and advocate to the ones that may not be able to speak. I want to be Karen in the clothes that I wear, may match some days and other days it does not, depending on my moods. I want to be able to be Karen that is now and again a clean freak, who gets misunderstood now and again, who is now using her voice more to share her life story and journey so far. I am now learning to be free again and letting go of some circumstances that may have held me back and down. Yes, society and people can knock me down or try to retain me for their purposes. Yet, I am not going to hide any more. I am a fighter and I choose to fight the battles that I want to fight, as I believe that some battles cannot be fought and we need to choose our battles wisely. I know wholeheartedly that I am not perfect and never will I be perfect. I have my imperfections, faults and flaws. But who are you to tell me otherwise, that I will never make it? I stand up against you, yet will support you regardless. I believe we need to be there for people that need us the most. Despite these flaws, imperfections and more, it is molding me into who I am and to whom I am becoming and am about to become in the future. My advice to you all is simple, and it is this: do not be conformed to this world and society, into what we should be doing, saying or thinking. I challenge you not to let anyone or any messages dictate to you that you cannot be anything. Anything is possible. I challenge you to be who you want to be, what you dreamed of becoming. There will be a process to make it happen. I challenge you all to break free from what society and the hidden messages are telling you as they are wrong. Be yourself. If people do not wish to accept you for who and what you are as a person, that is their problem, not yours. Aim high. Love yourself and be true to yourself, as the real people will come along in your life. Rituals and routines. For many of us Aspies, we do tend to have a routine and ritual to follow and abide by to a point. This is a way we try to control our world of chaos, business, and our coping mechanisms. Some of us may not like change, but we will do our best to adapt to the changes around us no matter what it is. With this in mind, this is important to me as this is like a safety net/blanket. Why am I calling it this? Let's just say that for us Aspies, sometimes we will know and feel strongly about what to expect, when to expect it, who to expect it from and where to expect it from. Sometimes, I am aware that there will be some changes to my routine, when I am hanging with others. But when it does, please be sure to let me know what it is, so that I can still get on with my day, instead of having to worry or assume that I did something wrong and more. I know that assumption can be really bad. Yet, some people I have associated with did not seem to give me the courtesy or respect to at least tell me. Of course, I will go in a whirlwind of many things and that will make me feel so depressed and ill. I am determined to fit into your schedule and also to learn to be more flexible when it comes down to it all. I know that sometimes some people may think it is crazy of me to do some things repeatedly and that some may lack insight on why I do this, as this is what I know and it works for me when things are in repetitive mode. I can achieve better and be more accurate to certain tasks that are given to me. I know that sometimes for me, when it comes down to doing this repetitively, that it will tire me out. Yet, I believe right now from what I have done in past and present, I am making slow progress in everything that I do. I believe despite the slow progress that there is a reward for me later on. I know that it is not a race to the finish line for life, as we should be able to enjoy ourselves and everything that we do no matter what it is, and also not to take so many things for granted. I know that I do work differently to others and that sometimes it is good to have an open mind and being able to accept our differences and see where that will lead us. You may even change your mind about me after getting to know me, on how you may have first thought about me. As I have said before, do assume we know someone, or we tend to judge people on how they speak, what they say and think and more. Sometimes, I do feel unsafe where everything can be daunting and challenging for me, yet I do try to push on and not give up. The need for us Aspies to have a ritual and routine, to some people is because we have control issues. This is not the case. It is just how we work differently to NTS, and that sometimes shows we are high achievers and believe that we can do almost anything like you can do, if not better. Excuse me for sounding as if I am writing as part of sarcasm of some kind. Yet, that is how I see us, as we are self-absorbed in the many tasks at hand and we can go further. When an observer may tend to think that we have control issues, many of them do not know what they are talking about, but based on assumptions and judgment of us being autistic or not. Hence, what I said in my video blogs, if you have been following the introductory part of it, you would not have known that I have this and many other pre-diagnoses. Saying that we have control issues is imposed as a threat for many of us Aspies, or even an accusation that we will take on board and ever not so lightly. This, however, also implies to us that we just do the work and can eliminate the need for control if the need arises. For some of us Aspies, people may think that we cannot be flexible in how and what we can do as a job for you. All is an understatement, as some of us can be this way. It will depend on how we go about these things ourselves. Sometimes, many of us Aspies feel that we can lessen our need for rituals and routines. What could you be thinking and asking me? It's simply just with mindfulness of some sort of therapy and effort. But be warned, however, it will never be gone completely from us, having that desire for the routine and ritual in place. We again need people to understand and tolerate us on how we go about doing everyday tasks. Some people may take us for granted or just even take advantage of how our personality is. Some of us Aspies may not have a backup plan put into place, if something does fail. So therefore, some of us may take it as a one-day-at-a-time process or approach if need be to suit us. Sometimes when we get sidetracked, we do forget most of the tasks and activities to be done, and that many of us may need to keep to a list of things to do throughout the day to prevent any meltdowns, frustrations, and panic attacks. This usually leads to the drawbacks when having routines and rituals like doing a job, performing everyday functions, and creating a relationship. Yet, when we do have rituals and routines, it can be looked as a positive improvement. This will show you that we are reliable in any situation, when it arises. Advice for readers, as well as Aspie girls and Aspie women. Do not be afraid to try out new activities now and again. Do try to get out of your comfort zones now and again. Do not be afraid to try out new styles or foods, etc. Behavioral therapy may or can help, if we do want to break away from our habits and routines, yet one thing to remember is to do a little at a time. Exercise. Meditation on releasing all the negative energy and thoughts around us. Journal writing, or even doing video blogs about our fears and feelings. Seeing a counselor or just someone who you can trust. What to say and not to say to an Aspie. There had been many when we socialize with people and we hear some statements from them which make us tend to question ourselves in the first place and why they said that. Have you thought about what you just said before? I know that sometimes, when we hear some of these common statements, it is like, why ask in the first place if I have already tried to explain to you what it is like? How do I go about this so that you will not be angry, impatient, or want to choose to pick some form of argument or disagreement between us? Here are the top 10 statements I think that most of us agree to have heard so many times, and they are as follows, alongside my opinion on these statements to gain a better insight of who I am. We all feel like you, and we do get overwhelmed and nervous in any environment or social situations we may face. My response to this one, I do agree wholeheartedly that we all do. Yet, with a female that has AS, the difference is we will experience some circumstances and situations at a magnified level. For example, imagine that you are looking at a field of green grass with the naked eye versus with a magnifying lens of a microscope. You will know that you will see more when certain situations and circumstances are magnified, right? For us Aspies, we will experience more things that are intensifying than others. If you are overwhelmed in a certain situation, remember what it will be like for us Aspies having to go through this. Be in our shoes for the day, walk in them and see it in a different angle. Our aspects of what you can see in terms of socializing and other areas are clearly different. So we need you to accept these. 1. Maybe if you are not too emotional all the time, have you ever tried being more consistent in how you feel and act in the situations you face every day? My response to this one will be this. Yes, I have thought of being more consistent, yet you normal neurotypical person need to remember someone like me, an Aspie female, especially in our minds, it is black and white sometimes. It is either this way or that way, as we will tend to find other ways to make things fit and match to our standards. It is like we will find other ways to at least see if it will work and not stick to the one way, as there is bound to be more than one way to do things. We will sometimes look furthermore into that particular item or situation and analyze it. As the saying goes, it is all or nothing. Some of us Aspies do have a late emotional development, yet with us getting overwhelmed with our sensory and emotional input, we do show our emotional tower, and later on when we are recharged, have a 50-50 balance. We can and will deal with our emotions at that time. Sometimes, we will tend to put a lot of our feelings and emotions aside, and when another event comes up, then our emotions will go on an overdrive to a high state, and when this happens many of you normal NTS will get so confused or in most case frustrated with us. That in turn will cause a conflict or disagreement between us. Yet, many of us Aspies tend to know how to deal and pinpoint our emotions to the point where we need to sit down, think, breathe, meditate and come back to reality of what happened. 2. Maybe you just need to go out more to have fun and socialize with others around you. My response to you on this one will be, yes. I do agree to a point that we Aspies need to go out and about. But, Sometimes the world around us can be overwhelming and we need to have our timeout period where we can recharge our batteries, as well as our social energy tank.